cents.
Right, relax.
So this is, you need to, this is done in appropriations, and we're taking up the transportation bill. And we do have an amendment to go with it. And so this year it's kind of unusual that the fees are in the budget, but of course, those fees make our budget work. And so if we adopt the transportation plan, but all the money to finance it and appropriate it comes through us. And so in the back of the bill, we have the transportation section. And we had to make some changes this year because of the proposal that originally came from the governor that would allocate, and I mentioned it in my remarks, nearly $80 million of general fund to support the transportation side of things. Over 3 years, yeah. And so what we had to do was, because the revenues, even with the fee bill, aren't sufficient this year, we had to put some more money to make the plan whole. And so this is what the amendment does. Chris Root spent some time where to find something that equaled 30 million, and came pretty close. And so, Anthea, if you want to go through
30 million?
3 million, I'm sorry, such a matter of.
I was going to say, wow, I would, wow.
30, 3 million, 30 million, $30.
You missed a few zeros in your life.
So we have before us an amendment that Anthea has drafted. So if you want to run through this.
Sure. So Senator Kitchell, for the record, Anthony Dexter Cooper from the Office of Legislative Counsel. So Senator Kitchell mentioned the T-bill adopts the transportation program, which is this giant binder. So when you see the T-bill, you need to imagine that this is like following along with it, and it goes everywhere it goes, including the Secretary of State's office. And section 1 of the T-bill adopts this except as it's amended in the bill. So if you want to change any of the numbers in here, you need to change it in the T-bill, and you are changing some of the numbers, namely the source of some of the funding amounts, and then one of the numbers is being changed. So what your amendment does is in your B900 sections, I think it's B903, in paving, Chris found a project that was funded with $3.15 million in transportation fund dollars. And what section 2, what the first instance of amendment does in section 2A is it makes a swap there to $3 million from your cash fund, and then the balance stays with the transportation fund. So it takes like 20 lines to change just a few highlighted numbers in this white book, because you need to sort of describe in detail where it is. So it's changing the swap and then preserving it at construction, and that's for paving and leveling in the state for projects that have yet to be determined. The second instance of amendment changes the very last page in the transportation program. And this has 2 one-time appropriations in it. One, as recommended by the administration, was $3 million for rail trail community connectivity grants on the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail. The House did not fund that at all. You are funding that at $1 million with your cash fund, and it's just changing the numbers here and then changing one of these little footnotes to say that it's $1 million from your cash fund.
It is a contingent. It is.
Yes. Okay. So section 1 of the T-bill does specify that it's adopting it to the extent that state, local, and federal funds are available. So Stephanie, they're covered. Thank you. And then the other one is $3.5 million for the St. Albans District Maintenance Facility, also coming from the contingent sub-account of your cash fund, changing the numbers and the footnotes. So that's what your amendment does in those 2 places. I'm happy to talk about the bill if you want to know about the bill, but I think we've got 2 well-versed members.
And so what we're doing is doing the amendment to the T-bills and to align with what we've done in the bill. And we're not putting general fund directly into T-funds.
And that's all the amendment.
And so it allows.
The amendment.
Okay.
So we think that the garage, well, it doesn't matter, I guess, it won't be built FY 24.
It doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
matter,
We're putting money aside for multi-year,
Yeah,
so many different places. So we have a motion to approve the amendment by Senator Westman, seconded by Senator Starr.
Senator Bruce not here, Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Kruschel,
Yes.
Senator Sears,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Senator Westman is yes, Senator Kitchen.
Yes. Okay, now we can move the bill. Do you want to have discussion? Obviously it's gone through 2 committees. It's the white book.
I think we should go through the what,
I'm not prepared to do that. I can't do
The
that.
highlights of the bill.
As amended. You go ahead, Andy.
We have a motion to move the bill.
There's a really
favorably as
interesting
amended.
culvert project.
And Andy wants you to know that Route 2 is going to be a major
Yes.
rebuild between Plainfield and the Cabot Campbell line. It stops at my district.
Starting this summer, going for 3 summers.
Oh,
They're having to rebuild the whole road.
well, it should get,
Talk about economic.
then it'll be all done, won't it? What about up by Jones Pond? Or you-
No, it doesn't go that far. It goes to the Cabot line.
No, but you've got a little piece that's never been done up
No,
there.
no.
So.
I'd like you to know that Route 2 is a Paleo Indian trail that went from Maine coast through to Lake Champlain. And it goes through the whole, White Mountain Range. Yeah, and so I just thought I'd point that out. The only reason I know that is because my son told me.
Right,
I was gonna say, it sounds like.
well, maybe they have, every time they're digging, they have to like
Have an archaeologist.
sift for arrowheads.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to move the bill favorably as amended.
I have one question,
All right.
and it's a serious question, and
Well, I'm glad
I
you-
hear that there's a number of projects that are being put on hold because in the paving area. Partly because of higher costs, and so can you fill us in on any of that?
I don't remember them saying, they talked about projects coming in, some of them 100% over what they had estimated. But I don't-
100%?
So they're putting re-up, some of them they're rebidding, some of them they're like, accepting.
That's ridiculous.
And some they're actually doing.
Well,
But we did not change.
no, we
any-
didn't
any
change,
project.
but I think but because we've heard that they held with Route 15 through the west side of my county is being held.
I think just in honor of you.
No, I'm just checking to see.
No,
I'm sure that with fuel costs up,
Yeah.
paving's much higher, labor costs are higher.
there wasn't like a overall, we have to hold so many projects, but like when we talked about the auditor's report, they said some projects get held and prices go up, but then they have to figure out what to do
Yeah.
because of,
Yeah, but these are being held because prices did go up.
or just specific things, they dig in there and they
Yeah.
find something and they
Arrowheads.
realize that they find arrowheads and everything comes to a halt. Or they just find out that, oh, this culvert is failed, so we can't just put a liner and we gotta replace it.
But in terms of anything that was done in committee,
No, I didn't think it was anything done in committee.
But that
But they have to hold stuff when stuff is above estimates. I'm asking the question, Chris, do you know anything?
I don't, for the record, Chris from Joint Fiscal, I don't have a list of projects that have been delayed or anything, but I have heard from the agency that there have been instances where a project has come back and either they haven't had the level of bidder interest that they were hoping for, or they did come back significantly above estimate, and they've made strategic decisions like that to perhaps pause one project that can be paused to move forward on a different
I
project
think it's
instead.
causing more than one, but could we get a little report on that or something?
well, the only way we would know that is if they altered the plan from last year. Are you talking about not even putting it into the plan to begin with?
No, it's these are in the plan. There just isn't the overall dollars to do.
Sometimes the plan, when you look up at a project, it'll have it over several years, so I don't know if they have to tell us if they're just gonna be extending it.
If you had a bunch of them that are as much as 100% over bid, then you've got stuff that they have to hold.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting just to get a report on what they're having, because there's only so many dollars.
The thing to do though
They
is
do have the
write that.
report though that tells us.
Yeah, so I can tell you the 10G report,
Yeah.
which is triggered by that 100% amount in 19 BSA section 10G. There are 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those projects are going forward.
Yeah, but they're just sort of for purposes of the, wait, these are new ones, sorry, I'm in the wrong part of the 10G report.
Sometimes you have to write stuff out.
Yep, here we go.
You don't just go find double the money.
Right.
You
No,
let
you-
them get hungry and they'll come back and go to.
Yeah, well, they are doing
But we're appropriating a dollar amount. The plan was
Yeah.
to do these based upon these estimates. They're now, because everything's so high, are going to have to, those will be the top of the list next year.
We can ask them to give us what projects have been delayed.
Yeah, I can tell you which projects have come in at over that 8 million amount or 100%, and there are 6 paving projects that they included in their 10G report.
But those are still moving forward.
Yeah, they're still moving forward, they're just the ones that are more expensive.
Well, I don't
with
know if
that
they
trigger.
ever had anything that they didn't put in the plan because they didn't have sufficient money to add them. They,
3 years ago, they rebuilt 105 from 101 all the way over to Richford. Last year, they were up there digging that brand new road up and putting a box culvert in. Now why? And now the box culvert's in, you go through there where it is rough and wobbly.
something must have failed because they, on the Route 2 project, they put all those culverts in last year in anticipation of the rebuild. So I can't, but they mentioned that very specifically to get that work done in
Wow.
advance.
Yeah, and then you build a new road on top and you're good for.
Well, we have a motion to move the
Yeah,
bill
I'll second
favorably as
it.
amended.
I'm fine.
I'll get your, what I can get.
I think Chris is already on it, so,
Okay.
but if you guys could get us something, that would be awesome.
What would have been on if they'd had the money?
Well, what they're holding,
What did they put in the book, but they don't think they're gonna get to because of lack of funds?
Or it was
No, no.
delayed a year.
or it will be delayed till next year, is what and they may rebid it later in the year. If some of the others they reject come back, it's just a juggling,
Yeah, it is. To stay within available.
just staying within.
I've got everybody there since we're asking other things. For both, for next year, Anthea and Chris, if we could look at some way to ask it has to go through the feds, but to look at better access to the James Jeffords Welcome Center in Bennington from the south.
Oh,
I mean, that's a serious request. I don't want to do anything this year, but for next year, if they could begin to look at how to improve that. Part of the
one you can't get to?
Yeah,
pardon me?
The one you can't get to?
yes.
Yeah, you can't get to it from the south, quite frankly, because the federal government, when they were requiring certain things to get funding, they put in an odd entrance to it. So you have to actually go to North Bennington, turn around and come back down from North Bennington to get to the Welcome Center from the south.
Okay, well, we'll put that,
It's just something to think about for next year.
We can.
yeah. Oh,
I don't want to put anything into this year's T-bill, just that since I've got both of you here.
all right. Well, you got 4 people here who are related,
Well,
Chris and the 2 of us. So I'm gonna, unless it's further discussion about the bill itself, move a motion to move the bill favorably as we've amended. And we have,
Senator
Ginny,
Burrows.
Now, I'm just,
you withdraw your amendment?
no,
I mean,
I'm
your
making the
motion.
amendment, I'm just asking a question about the program itself and if exit 13B in South Burlington for the exit to the airport is in the program anywhere. Do we know that? Guys, not think of that, sir.
I mean, a new,
About it,
A new.
a new exit.
a new exit,
Mhm.
that's
I
not, a-
doubt it.
It's not in the program.
But there's a park and ride in Williston.
Which is supposed to be completed,
Yes, well, the park and ride in
Yeah.
Williston is good, but
there is a senator that sometimes brings up the new.
he does,
for
okay,
South
well, I
Carolina.
won't bring it up. I would call the question.
All right,
All right.
we're gonna,
Senator
Clerk will
Drew,
call
he's
the vote.
not here. Senator Lyons,
Yes.
Senator Person,
Yes,
Senator Sears,
Yes,
Starr.
Yeah.
Westman, yes. Kitchell,
yes. So we have,
and the reporter.
I do the, well, I have been.
you do it all.
No, the transportation. I usually do the transportation section, unless you want to do it. You're welcome to.
I don't wanna
do
get
it.
no
I wrote Kitchell.
Is that our schedule for today?
Okay. Never mind. If you want technical amendments on the.
Yeah.
On the calendar.
No, but I mean in terms of bills. So we're gonna go back to the budget because we have two things that need to be addressed in an amendment. I don't know whether other amendments, I have been told that there will be amendment like there was for the BAA. Emergency housing. But we're gonna have to figure out a time. We're gonna do second reading tomorrow. And then tomorrow is Wednesday. So we would do third reading Thursday. And I don't know what people's schedules look like to need to consider any amendments that we might have, other than the two instances that where Stephanie's gonna brief us on, and any others other than this one that would be before third reading. So what do people's schedules look like for us to meet Thursday morning before the floor at 11:30?
Our committee will be meeting at that time, so I can't predict that I can leave. Probably at 8:30. Oh, no, Thursday morning is Elkhart.
So you have a vice chair for.
I probably can leave it.
Okay, so if people could tentatively pencil that in, 11:30, I think, Ag, you're still meeting, if you
It's
were,
up to him. Okay.
No,
8:30, I mean, 11:30.
which one is that?
11:30 Thursday morning for any potential amendments before third reading.
Sure.
Or were you told the amendment would come at third reading, or will it just push it?
No, I was told before third reading, if they come.
Yeah. Richie and I
Well, I wondered if,
can
talk about it, but I wondered
see
if,
if
I don't want to call it a counter amendment, but an amendment that might be worth considering is not changing the, starting everybody at the 24-month clock on July 1st. But I was also told there's this, once you use up your time, you can't use it, you can't go back into the program for 12 months. You're basically locked out for a year, and that we could give the agency specific waiver to say that they don't have to lock people out.
May consider.
Yeah, from July 1st, kind of consider.
Instead of doing it broadly, they have the ability to do it on a case by case.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there would be a desire to make that a more broadly applied, but they do have the ability to do exceptions as an individual case in the facts. So I'm just trying to go back to see what that amendment was.
Wondering the,
In the budget.
How would they get locked down?
the hotel program, and then so,
Right, we
since they've already been
prioritize
there a year,
people.
on July 1st,
That's
they've
what
already
you're
used their
talking
year. So,
That should be
Was on-
done
that-
unless you got a handicap issue.
right.
Well, the 2.5 or the 5 million, somebody's. Something like that.
Who did you?
I thought I read third reading, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's a big deal.
We have
We used to have 200-300.
Pretty much
now
budget
we got
adjustment on
3,000.
on our website for Senator Waskey.
Something wrong with that.
I don't know whether it'll be before third reading or tomorrow. I haven't seen it.
I don't think we voted on it.
But,
Presented it here.
yeah, voted not to support it.
No, on the floor, did she pull it? I didn't see it.
No, we voted on it. So,
I don't think it was a roll call. though.
no. So Stephanie, do you want to go over
Why
the?
don't Brady and I come up?
Okay.
It's a little bit more than, it's not, it's three separate things. One's just a goof that I did.
Well, it's amazing with the length of that bill, that.
And I, it's, Henry could send it to- So the First Amendment is, we had talked about the first generation program.
Help
Which
people buy homes.
help people buy homes. And I'd forgotten to go back to S100 on Friday afternoon when you talked about housing, so it got dropped. This would put that $1 million as the last position on the contingent list. So your contingent list would then be $21.5 million. That is a little bit less than half of what we're ahead through the end of March in terms of general fund revenue, which is a pretty reasonable approach to the contingent list. So that's how the committee expressed the desire to fund that, and so I didn't return to it on Friday. So.
Oh, we can return to it today.
Yes. The second, third, and fourth amendment all pertain to the PCB language. And it was a little bit confusing to follow the committee's conversation on that language last week. The second proposal amendment, which strikes out the one or more, that one or more would have made a choice available of the three things listed to spend the PCB money on. That should have been taken out because I think the desire was to spend on all of the pieces listed, including the 16 million. And then the 16 million piece in the third amendment, we had gotten sort of tied up in the total cost, but the words we wanted were actual cost, and we didn't have the word actual. And so that's what the third amendment is doing, is adding the word actual before
But
the word
it's still
cost.
not to exceed 16.
That's still in there. That doesn't change at all. It's just the word actual cost is coming in.
Oh, so that was more, you told me.
No, you can't, up to, it's up to 16. So if it came into 16.1 million, with there only can be reimbursed at 16. It can't exceed. So it's actual cost. So if it came in at 15.5, then
That's
all of it would
they
be covered. But so it's actual up to.
And then the fourth is technical. We failed on the actual reference to the right subsection, subdivisions above. Subdivision B, sub 1A and B, as opposed to the way we have it in. It's just a cleanup. And then the fifth is kind of a cleanup too. This is the report back from Joint Legislative Justice Oversight Committee to the General Assembly. This is it's one of the pieces in, I've forgotten the section.
Retention.
The retention.
Yeah,
This is in DOC.
it's the home detention, sorry.
Home detention. Over the weekend, I had Joint Legislative Justice Oversight Committee reporting to itself.
Oh. Oh, well, how do you like that, Dick? You can report to yourself.
So that just fixes that.
That's a great idea.
It's called a closed loop.
Yes, I will say that the recommendation from the Senate Judiciary is to have the report only to Senate Judiciary. But this would put it to the General Assembly.
That's fine. Actually, the House bill only reported to the Senate institutions, to the House Institutions Committee.
We noticed that, as did you. Okay, so.
So I put it down as Senate Judiciary, but actually, I don't care where as long as the report gets to Justice Oversight, that's fine.
Well,
So these would be from all the members of the committee, and the chair would take them up and have them on the calendar for tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And that's you usually try and do this, the technicals before second reading. And if we have more that come in, we'll do it before third reading.
We'll have to send out a note and try to convene before tomorrow afternoon at 1. Because we don't have to vote, but this is an amendment from all of us. I'm assuming everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I think you end up having to take them up or something.
I do, because otherwise we can't be trusted. So anything else relative to the budget committee of, hope the materials that we got put together
Yeah, those
were
are
good.
awesome. You
They
guys
were
put
great.
that together fast. Like,
The house
Well, they work.
I think that
It will be helpful
housing
for the house. I think it'll be helpful for the house too, you know, the color coded one time and then they'll get a copy of the language parts in green, so that'll help them focus their attention.
So I think, we are trying to organize, this bill, for those of us who've been here, was incredibly complicated. There's just so much in it, and to try to crosswalk it and how many different places things are, so it's a challenge to organize the information in a way that people can access it easily and not, every time I try to go through the addendum, I can't find anything. So
I would say the bill was the second most.
There was a hell of a
What
lot
was the
thrown at
most
us, too.
Is the number of requests. The requests and demands from people around all of this. I've never seen it.
no, it's true. It's been, and I think we've tried to do our best. So it's been a lot of work, and I think people are ready to get it moved forward. So I'll take the amendment up. And I think at this point then, considering anything else, Grady?
Yeah, I will resend a copy of this. I redrafted the first one quickly and just need to fix the
Yeah,
head,
but
to reflect that it's B1105, not B1100.
Okay, all right. So I'll take the one with that correction up on behalf of all of us as sponsors. Great. Anything else people have?
we don't need to vote.
No, we don't. So
No,
we're
our
gonna make,
names are on it.
We're all set.
well, unless you want to support what you've done. You want to go on record?
I didn't know.
No, I think we're all set. So with that, I think we're done for today. And it give you time to catch up. Needless to say, we've had a huge amount of emails to
Yeah.
respond to. And I think all of us are struggling to even keep up with the volume of emails. Senator Sears said he got over 800 on one day.
I'm not keeping up. I'm gonna wait till after the session.
H230, not the appropriations bill, though.
On 2:30.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot on it. 2:30.
Yeah, 2:30.
But on Friday, like while we were debating, I probably got 50 emails about changes they wanted.
I'm getting a bunch on sports betting.
Yeah, I
to
guess.
I know.
support it, and I'm sitting here going, I sponsored it in the Senate.
Yeah, I know. He's gonna go.
I know, it's kind of like.
I just.
Richie, in my absence, and I realize that conference committees will be starting soon in there, and I expect you to take care of the Jackwagon Cup.
I'll bring it along.
All right, thank you. I'm going to adjourn the committee then for today. I think people have got lots of work, and I'm going to hope that people can get caught.
Mine's over there.
Thank you.